Welcome to the Sandlot Report, presented by Majors TV. On this week's episode, we're going to piggyback off an article we saw on ESPN.com a couple weeks ago about if, without using statistics, who are the best players in baseball? Just by purely the eye test, you can't talk about wins above replacement, batting average, or anything like that. To our eyes, we've decided to compile our comparative list of the 5 best players in baseball. So joining me is Shawn. My name is Dorf, and here we go. All right, so number 5 on my list. 5th best player I have as New Pirates center fielder, Starling Marte. Just kind of that guy that's good at everything. Isn't great at everything, but he's just damn good at everything, and that's why he appears at number 5 on my list. Who do you have?
I'm actually going to go with the Texas Rangers third baseman, Beltre. The dude has been consistent his entire life. He's been doing it since the late 90s. But
God, he's like 50 years old.
Like for his age and the way he still plays, it seems like he just keeps getting better as age goes on. And he has a cannon for an arm still. Obviously, like you said about Marte, he's not everything. He's not the best at every single, position or whatever, but he just can throw from third base to first base like a cannon, and he hits
effortless cannon.
Yeah, and his swing is probably one of the hardest swings I've ever seen in my life. He just makes contact with everything. So,
all right, number 4 on my list is going to be Red Sox right fielder Mookie Betts. You're relatively new to the scene, but you know what? For a guy who's about this big, he generates a shit ton of power, runs the bases very well, very good to defend, also very defensively versatile. Can play all 3 outfield spots and second base in a pinch. And you know what? He's going to be a centerpiece in that Red Sox lineup for years to come. So he's number 4 on my list, and you're number 4.
My number 4 is actually the Detroit Tigers second baseman, Ian Kinsler. He's another guy like Beltre. He just keeps getting better as he gets older. He's a leadoff hitter now, too. He's proven for the past few years with the Tigers that he's been a good leadoff hitter. He can steal bases. He plays really good defense. And the guy can show that he still has pop in his bat. It kind of is dwindling down a little bit because of his age, but he still is just, he can make contact pretty good with it.
All right. So number 3 on my list is going to be Houston Astros second baseman Jose Altuve. Another guy who's about this big. He just does everything well. And for a guy who's generously listed at 5'9", he's about 5'4". Generates a shit ton of power, and you know what? Steals a crap ton of bases. Plays solid defense, and you know what? It's been a very, very nice piece for the Houston Astros for many years. It will continue to be for years to come. God, if he didn't sign in that extension, he could make so much money.
Yes, he would.
All right, you're number 3.
My number 3 has been actually one of my favorite baseball players in my entire life.
Anybody who knows Shawn, this isn't going to be a surprise.
I'm picking Troy Tulowitzki. He's actually the shortstop for the Toronto Blue Jays now, former with the Colorado Rockies. But injuries has hurt him most of his career and stuff like that. But when he's healthy, this dude is a beast. He, obviously shows pop. He plays great shortstop. He has a cannon for an arm. And, he has the potential to steal bases. But obviously, I think he sees that he can't do it as much as injury prone. He kind of takes it a little back. But he says
when your hamstrings are made of chewing gum.
Yes.
Really
but the guy is just one of the solid players I've ever seen in my life. And I just love it.
All right, surprising number 2 here on my list. My number 2 here is going to be the one and only, the great Mike Trout. No, he's not the number 1 on my list. What sets him apart from the guy that's going to appear number 1 on my list is his arm. You know what? Mike Trout is called a 5-tool player. In my opinion, he's not. His arm is the one thing that's really lacking. You know what? If Mike Trout wanted to win the home run contest every year, he probably could. He does, he does swing and miss a little bit more than I like, but you know what? He drives plenty of walks, hits the ball hard when it's in play, and runs very well. You'll see why. We'll go into why he didn't appear first once we talk about who's number 1 on my list. So, Shawn, you're number 2.
I'm actually going to go with the third baseman for the Baltimore Orioles, Manny Machado. The kid's coming up. He's been in the league for a few years now. You see the power that this kid has. It's great to see. And he can snag pretty much anything at third base. His first few years with the Orioles, he kind of struggled on defense a little bit, but you could just tell these past couple years he's been so solid. He has a great arm. And, he's proven he kind of can steal bases, whatever. He shows that he can, but he just doesn't. That's not his job. But his job is to hit home runs like he's been doing. And producing runs.
And I think the Orioles, to your point there, have actually told him to stop stealing bases, just because they'd rather, you know what, the one base that you're going to take here once or twice a week isn't worth losing you for a couple of weeks when you jam your thumb stealing a base, pull a hamstring, etc.
Yes.
All right, so number 1 on my list is the same guy as number 2 in yours. That's Manny Machado. That's the only thing I know. I think he could run well if he was allowed to. Other than that, he does everything extremely well. And that's why I put him ahead of Mike Trout, because Manny Machado is a 5-tool player that's not allowed to be a 5-tool player. Mike Trout, what lacks with him is that arm. The arm is it's major league average. And you know what? When you have a plus 5-tool player and a 4 polished tools plus 1, that's why I have Machado ahead on my list.
Oh, actually, my number 1 is we flip-flop. I'm going to go with Mike Trout, how I see. I'm like...
Your Lord and Savior, Mike Trout.
Basically. But no, I'm like, I do agree with you. His arm's not the strongest, but it gets the job done, and that's what helps him keep him at number 1 for me. And obviously, he gets on base. He plays good defense. And what thing gets me the most time is like just being able to see these players steal bases, like when they get on base, see what they can do. And I know it sucks for Manny Machado because, like we said, the Orioles kind of basically say, you're our guy. We don't want you to get hurt. You're not stealing bases. And that's what kind of makes me put him at 2 and then Trout at 1, because obviously I get to see what Trout does. We don't get to see that with Machado at all, really. So,
okay. All right. That is going to wrap up this episode of the Sandlot Report. You can find us right here on YouTube at youtube.com/TheMajorsTV or on The Majors TV on Twitter. So thanks for joining me, Sean. We'll see you guys next time.